Yo, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well this Friday. Yeah, we're live now, baby. We're live. I love doing these, by the way. We've gotten good feedback. People have actually texted me and told me they're getting a lot of value out of it. Um, my apologies at first. My voice is a little jacked up this week, but we're still going to freaking do this. We're going to make this work. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun as always, and we will get your questions answered. It's interesting, like this business. I was talking to someone about this the other day. As I talk to different operators and things, it's like the cool thing about this business, there's so many different business models. And there's so many different business models and things that you can do, right? And different ways you can add value to parks. And a lot of people do it differently. And it's pretty cool to see. And like you can't do that in any other asset class. Um, awesome, guys. So if you're live, shoot me some questions. I would love to answer them. We had a question come in. Are there any new trends we should watch out for this year? Well, that's an interesting question because I'm always looking for this. A couple different things that you may have heard some people talk about on my podcast. Rents in multifamily are actually going down in some places. And I know in Tampa they've gone down. I know Orlando that they've gone down because people built so much shit in the last 3 years, right? So supply has gone up. That supply has to be filled because there's not a lot of things being built, but there's still, construction has went down, obviously. So you just need to watch out for that. Like I think in mobile home parks and affordable housing, we are still good because we are the cheapest place in town. There's a scarcity of it. They're not building any more of them, right? So I think that's something to watch out for, like your 2-bedroom apartment rent, because it correlates with our rent. So maybe your rent growth could be a little bit slower, but even then, like if you're buying from mom and pop and you're $500 below market anyways, your rent growth can still be pretty, like, you can get 5, 6, 7, 8% a year in some markets if you're really far behind. So that's one thing I would look out for. And also, I'm kind of talking right now, but the thing with like the boxable homes and those cheap, cool looking homes you can get off of Amazon, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know, they're kind of interesting, right? We were actually looking at just like, hey, putting one on one of our sites, one of our vacant lots at one of the parks, and just seeing what happens because I think we have the zoning for it. But those are interesting. They're very small. Some of these container homes are like 400 square feet. I mean, some of them I don't even think they're that. So I think like our product is still better because a 60-foot single wide is much bigger than that. So that's something. 3D printing homes is something that's like, I don't know if it's there yet, but it's definitely something to look out for because there is an affordable housing problem and people are going to start making a big time effort to try to fix that. We're trying to do that now with existing stuff. Um, but I could see some of those things kind of, you know, coming up. Other trends, I think you're still running into basically the delta between what the seller wants and what you are willing to pay it's still alive and well. Just like it was in 2023, just like it was in 2024. It is better. I will say that we've gotten deals done. We've got 4 deals under contract right now. So but these deals we've been working on for a while, but there's still a delta there and it's harder for you to get to the number. And unfortunately, like I have great broker friends, but unfortunately, like these guys have been called so many times, especially by new people that have no idea about the industry and they're just trying to show their lead broker that they got a freaking listing. Like, oh, we can get you 6 billion for the deal. And now the seller is just, they go down to the Cayman Islands, as you've heard me talk about before, and they've got all this freaking money now. So they can't sell now. Like that person has literally ruined their ability to sell because now they think they have to get $6 billion on it. And they're not going to be able to do that now. And sometimes in some cases, they've already spent the money. I've talked to sellers that are like, we have to get this number because I've already spent the money. So you're in a bit of a quagmire. You have other guys out there that didn't know the business and they got into the business thinking they needed to rehab all these homes. So they're putting a bunch of money into the homes. And now when I go to sell it, I don't add any, like, that's no value to me. Their prices are way off. So that's kind of an ongoing trend that you're going to see. Okay, another one here. Let's see, Mike Jones. Is that the real Mike Jones? The real Mike Jones? Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you're a millennial, you know who Mike Jones is. Once I put the mobile home park under contract with the owner, do I have the contract ratified at the title company in that area? I don't know what that means, dude. I'm gonna have to get the damn dictionary out. Maybe ratified? Maybe that's what you mean, ratified? I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you would send, like, once I sign and the seller signs, we then send it to the attorneys and who's doing the title. But it doesn't have to be ratified. I mean, you just send it to them. I guess that's what you're asking. You don't have to sign it at the title company. You just send the contract to the title company, and they start working on it. And you should always use an attorney. I think someone asked that last week. You should definitely use an attorney, even if their attorneys are doing title. You need to have your own attorney, especially if you're getting a loan from the bank. You need to get the loan docs looked at. Okay, Mike Jones. Also, how do I find the comps or value of the mobile home? Also, could I assign the contract to an end buyer? Yes, you can assign the contract to an end buyer, but your contract has to say that it is assignable. If it doesn't, then you can't. Now, most of the contracts that we do are always assignable because we're like, Derek Vickers or Vicktory Capital will put the deal under contract, but we don't have the LLC. Like, we're buying a property in the LLC. It'll be Derek Vickers and or designated property LLC because we haven't made the LLC yet because we haven't gone under due diligence, and I'm not going to make the LLC yet unless we're actually gonna buy the deal after due diligence and stuff. Comps or value of the mobile home. I mean, of the actual mobile homes there. I'm not sure I understand your question. I mean, the comps for the parks, in the area, you can just call around and get those. You can just call around and get the comps. But I'm going to give you some stupid data right here. Just because everybody else in the market is charging 500 does not mean that's the market. It doesn't. I can't believe I just said that. So you can call around and get the comps. Call around and get the comps, Mike Jones. And I guess if you're asking about the comps and the value of the mobile homes, I mean, you can just maybe you find a wholesaler or something that comes in and can give you the value of the home. I mean, I've looked at so many of these things and I just know what somebody would pay for it by looking at it. That just comes from obviously experience and, seeing a bunch of these damn things. What are the typical expenses involved in running a mobile home park? That's what I love about this business because the expenses are pretty easy to predict. Okay, so if you go down to P&L, your biggest expense is going to be property taxes, of course, and then it's going to be insurance, depending on where you're at, depending on what kind of insurance you have to carry. So insurance will be there too, and then you're going to have your utility expenses, whether you're water, public sewer, well and septic, just depends. If you have well, you are going to have a fee that you pay every month to your operator to come in and take the samples for you. You don't want to do it like mom and pop. They take the samples and get them themselves, which is so dumb. You don't need to do that to save $300 a month. If you have a treatment plant, you're going to be paying like $1,600 to $2,000 a month for utilities. Depending on how trash is set up, like you're going to have trash expenses. You might have a little repair and maintenance in there. We usually, in my performance, I'm doing $250 per unit per year. in repairs and maintenance. And that usually covers like, maybe some septic or a water line break or something that you don't necessarily account for. Let's see, you're going to have your permit fees if you have to have a permit to operate the park, because you do in most states. Some, maybe you don't, but that's only a few $100. You have your property management fee, and you're going to have like an accounting fee, depending on how you're doing that. I would recommend using someone to outsource that. We have, I would do that unless you're like a wizard and you want to be stuck in the mechanics of the books. Go for it, dude. Go for it. But I would just hire that out so you don't have to worry about it, and you get a professional to do it and to make sure your books are good and clean every month. And that's really it. That's really it. And if you're self-managing, you may not even have a property management fee. But that's essentially it. I mean, that's your operating expenses. Now, your CapEx below the line is going to vary per park, but you're going to go into due diligence and figure out what that is. For example, like we have the same setup. Like we do fences, we do lights, we do fences around the dumpster, we do mailboxes, we do mailbox covers, we pave the roads, we do tree cutting, we take out, stupid landscaping that doesn't need to be there. We actually do landscaping, which mom and pop may or may not do. We put lights up. So it just kind of depends on what your park and what you're going to do for CapEx. I mean, we bought one park in July that there was literally like no CapEx. I mean, the mom and pop basically took really, really, really good care of it. We didn't need to do anything with it, which was nice, for once, because managing projects can be a pain. I mean, I'm trying to think if I'm missing any other expenses, but that's the typical ones that you're going to run into. If you check out, I think we have a video in one of our course where we're going over P&Ls of parks that I actually own. We're going through like, hey, what's this and what's this and what's this? And you can check that out if you go to our website. Do I need a special license to operate a mobile home park? We just talked about that a little bit. Yes. In the state of Florida, you have your health department permit that you have to have. So that's going to vary per state. I mean, some states, I'm not familiar with all 50 states. I'm not going to sit here and act like I am, but more than likely, you probably got to have an operating permit. If you have, in Florida, if you have a well and a wastewater treatment plant, you have to have a permit to operate that. Your treatment plant permit will be 3, 5, or 10 years, depending on, how bad DEP wants to look at your system. I mean, I've seen some of these guys have 10-year permits, but we've had some that are like 3 and 5-year permits. You got to have that. Your well permit, I think it has to be renewed every 5 to 10 years, but you got to have a permit to operate the well. The septic system is a little bit different. They sort of take that as like, they're sort of grandfathered in, and your health department permit, I guess, encompasses that. But typically, you do need a special license to operate a mobile home park. It's not like you have to have the license to buy the park, but you got to have the park LLC has to have the license to be running as a mobile home park, depending on where it is. Business tax receipts in Florida, there's a business tax receipts. You want to get those. None of the mom and pop sellers get them, but they're there. It's an extra $50 a year you got to pay. I don't know who asked this question, but how do mobile home parks generate income? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Rent, lot rent. You can also have, park and home rent. You can have laundry rent. Not laundry rent, but fees. We have a park right now with some laundry that we're keeping right now. I usually get rid of laundry because it's just hard to keep up with. It's a pain. If you don't have a park, you'd be like, oh, well, why don't you keep laundry? Okay, buy a park and keep the laundry. And then you'll message me back and be like, okay, Derek was right. Let's get rid of the laundry. This one hasn't been that bad, so we've just kept it. Other things, let's see, we can have storage income. Like we have a park that has they have like there's like a space for boats and things. So you can charge them. I think maybe we charge $50 a month for that. Boat slips. We have a park with boat slips. So depending on what your park has, I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can, you can get creative with and charge. You can also have rent to own income. If you sell a home or if you're getting extra income per month on that, yeah, you can do that. What's the best advice you can give to someone who has never invested in property but would like to try MHPs? Well, the best advice I would give is just you got to go out and do it. Like, people get so stuck in the theory of it. People are just like, hey, I need to learn this and I need to learn that and I need to learn this and I need to learn that. Instead of just making calls, sending offers, and putting shit under contract. I mean, if you don't do that, you're not going to figure out any of the things that because there's a lot of nuances that you aren't going to know. You can study every freaking course. You can do mine. You can do anybody else's course, and there's still going to be things that you forget or you didn't know when you went in. I did that. I studied courses before I did this, and I still made mistakes. The reason why I learned that because I was willing to go in and do it. So if you're really committed about getting into this business, if you're really committed about going in and creating wealth for yourself in real estate, you need to go take action. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, dude. Like, you need to put something under contract. You need to look under the hood of something and see if it's even something that you want to buy, because you're going to learn a lot in due diligence. You're going to learn a lot talking to sellers. You're going to learn a lot driving parks and walking parks. You're going to learn that, and you're going to develop I was talking about this with one of the executives in my company earlier. It's like you're going to develop a sixth sense for underwriting. You're going to develop a sixth sense for when you walk into a park and say, damn, this is a good deal. Let's buy this deal. I've seen people over the last 3 years. I've been doing this online stuff. They come in the courses and they're in everybody's course and they go to everybody's course and they're a part of everything and they're very active and a part of everything. And they still don't have a park. They still can't underwrite a park. They still don't know how to do the numbers on a park. They still don't know how to make an effective offer on the park. A lot of that stuff is built from taking action. So action, right? The next steps and what you need to learn will reveal themselves because you're not going to know it all at once. I know me in the beginning, like, hey, what happens after I put this under contract? Nothing. Like, nothing happens. Literally. If you send an offer today, you send a signed contract to the seller and they sign it. What happens? Nothing. You got to send your EMD within a couple days. So then something happens in a couple days. So right now, nothing happens. Right. And then okay, we send the EMD. Then we send it to the attorney and title, and then they start doing their thing. But there's step by step of the way to get there. You have to balance. Like, here's a nugget for you. Like, if you're just taking in theory, and no action, you are so out of balance. So you have to balance that and do theory, action, theory, action to keep that balance, because then you're learning the theory and then putting into practice the theory, right? And this is what some people don't tell you, dude. It's like, okay, here's the information, but you have to go do it. That's why in our partnership program, it's a wild program. Like, I'm literally going to drag your ass across the finish line. Okay. And you got to pay us 10 grand to do it. I mean, it's so funny. Like, people want to make $1 million, but they don't want to pay 10 grand. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, we literally give you everything. Like, you're going to have somebody calling for you. You're going to have access to the acquisitions team. And I'm going to help you negotiate and put the deals under contract and literally just lay it on a silver platter for you. So I think really what it comes down to is someone actually being committed. If you are really committed, then you will do what it takes. But if you're just like, half in and half out, you will not do what it takes. You're going to be sitting around a couple years later And you're going to be wondering, like you are today, is it still a good time to buy? Should I buy? Should I go buy? Is it a good time to buy? And you're going to be saying this in 2 years again. And of course, it was a good time. And you're going to be like, damn, I wish I would have bought 2 years ago. I started in 2020. I was like, nah, I don't know if it's still a good time to buy. But we started finding deals. And it was a good time to buy. And I think if you don't do that now, you're going to be pissed that you didn't in 2 years or 3 years. Yeah, in 2020, I wish I would have started buying in 2012 when Kevin Bupp, who was on my podcast, bought his first park. It was something like that, maybe earlier. Absolutely, I like wish I would have started then. But there's no better time than now, right? So really decide and get committed on what you're doing. If you can't even spend $50 on something to make you better, then like you ain't committed. You ain't committed. You should just, keep doing what you're doing, go to your job and not buy a mobile home park. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but the real thing that got me moving and growing fast was I was committed. I said, I want to get into this business. This is the business I'm going to get in. I'm not getting in multifamily. I don't like that anymore. I did like that. And I just learned the business, dude. I went around and drove all the parks in my spare time while I was calling, right? And doing and learning. Like I was learning podcasts, reading, like courses, but I was taking action on the side, right? I was calling and driving parks, right? So I was getting like the how the parks looked and what they operated like and what the sellers would say on the phone. The first couple calls I made, I sounded like an idiot, even though I had experience cold calling. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know how to get on common ground with these guys. I had no clue, had no freaking clue. But I kept learning and I kept doing it, right? Most people won't even fall on their face. They're too scared to fall on their face. I mean, just face it. Like, yeah, it'll be hard. Like, so I go to Orange Theory and do these like pretty intense workouts where I do CrossFit. And like once at the end of the workouts all the time, I'm like, man, this last sprint is gonna suck. This is gonna be terrible. And I just get ready for it, dude. And I don't lower my speed. I don't go slower. I don't take it easy because when I commit to something, I commit to it. I'm like, man, this one's gonna suck. Like, or if I'm gassed and there's 10 minutes left in the treadmill part, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be terrible. But you sort of push through it and you keep going, right? So just say, hey, these calls are gonna they're not gonna be fun, but I'm gonna get better and they're gonna be great. Like they're gonna be great. I'm gonna actually find deals on these calls. So you're setting the intention and then you're like, hey, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it is what it is. All right. You just got to do it anyways. You will develop the muscle. If you've never worked out before in your life, it takes a little bit longer to build muscle. And if you've been comfortable your whole life, it takes a little bit more to build the muscle of discomfort. And you have to continually build that muscle. I just keep going off on this because I hate to see people that like, hey, they want to do something, but they never take enough action to do it. Yeah, unfortunately, like you're not gonna be where you want to be, and you'll look back in a couple of years and be like, damn, I should have started. The people who did start then have bought 10 parks by then. Who knows what it is? Thank you for the questions. We'll get on here and answer these every week. We'll also, I think we're posting these on YouTube as well afterwards, so you can check those out. So go check out the YouTube channel. If you want to hear about our partnership program, I would love to do that. And literally, if you want to get your ass dragged across the finish line to go from no parks to one, that's the program for you. But if not, then, it's not for you. Like, whatever. I'm out buying deals. Like, this isn't my, main business. We've got 4 deals under contract. Now, I just always enjoyed, helping people. I did that in the insurance business. So, if you want to come on, great. If not, just go check out all the free stuff. I mean, we have so much free stuff. Like you could take all the free stuff, and if you actually did it and took action, you can get your first park. So check out the YouTube channel. If you want to be a part of our partnership program, let me know. We have the free courses and I think free checklists and things like that. So you can check those things out. And we will see you all next week. Peace out, guys.